going on, guys? Dr. Vic here, and excited to have you here and join me on this episode as I'm going to be bringing something to share, something that's been on my mind, something I keep seeing. And I've talked about this before. I've talked about this in different ways. I brought this up in different aspects to my book and in a couple of my books. And it's one of those things where I want to bring this to the table on sharing this key that we're kind of how to not allow the matrix, how to not allow the where humanity is focusing its energy to, its consciousness levels, to influence you in your experience. And this is something I talked about in Decoding the Matrix. Pretty much it's a huge part of that book. But in this episode, I wanted to talk about something I keep hearing, right? You keep seeing people post about, or you may hear in the news or whatever that may be. I don't watch news, so I don't know. I just pick it up on what I'm seeing from like LinkedIn and stuff. How, the recession may be coming. The housing market's the worst we've seen since this. We have this is the worst we've seen since that. This is the worst we've seen since this. And what they're doing is they're creating a ton of fear, right? And so people are freaking out. And it's one of those things where when you look at this, the question you have to ask yourself is, well, is that true? Is it not true? How does that affect me? Right. And when you think it's going to affect you, you've bought into the program. You bought into the condition. You're focusing on it. You're going to see more of it. And you're going to have the experience like everyone else who may have when a recession comes. Because I was working with a potential client, and it's like when you hear about like, people don't say they just don't have money. People just don't have money. Where's your focus at? Right. And the reason I'm saying all these things is because I'm not saying they're not true. I'm not trying to ignore what's going to happen or could happen. What I do know is I am the creator of my life. I choose what to experience. I go through things that I create are based all on my vibe, my energy, my vibration. Quantum physics has proven all this stuff. And so if everything's energy, if you're focusing on fear, if you're focusing on lack or scarcity, if you're focusing on something that, that is not going to benefit you and your vision and your goals and your dreams and so forth, well, guess what? You're going to experience just that. You're going to experience the lack. You're going to experience the wrath of what could be coming, right? Some people say the dollar's going to collapse. And I keep hearing people telling me this. And I'm just like, just don't share that stuff with me anymore. I don't care if the dollar collapses or not. It could affect you. Don't you? You need to position yourself in a way that you're going to prosper yourself, or you're going to really harm yourself financially. It's like, I'm not worried about that. I have things put in just in case, but at the same token, it's like, why am I going to put my energy into all that fear? And why, so and the reason why I'm saying that is because here's the principle and here's the truth, right? Law of focus says is what you focus on is where energy and attention goes. Where energy goes. And wherever energy goes, manifestation is going to grow. So when you are looking at your life, whatever you're focusing on is going to expand. Whatever you focus on is going to give life to. And so if you're focused on recessions and more people are doing that, guess what we're going to experience? I shared this when COVID was coming out back in February, end of February, on this podcast. You can go and listen to it. I shared February 2020, at the end of February, I shared a podcast saying, do not buy into the fear. And I said, the reason why is because if we buy into the fear, this is going to be a lot worse than what you experience. And this is all the same kind of conditioning. You can see my dog in the background if you're watching the video. And it's one of those things where we buying into that fear is going to be one of those things that is only going to make it worse, because from a matrix perspective, we are lowering the vibe more and more and more, which creates a worse outcome than what we would desire. And the same thing is here. But I don't just mean that from a global macro perspective. I also mean that from a micro perspective with your life. What are you focusing on? Right? When COVID hit, I had a few clients where their businesses just got shut down. They couldn't work anymore. Their income stopped. Right? And they were even like, I don't know if I can continue coaching. And I said, that's the last thing you want to give up on. Do not give up on coaching. I was going bankrupt and I kept my coach. Don't even know how I made payments. I was moving payments around to make sure I can cover her payment so I can keep her as a coach. And I'll tell you the reason I still to this day, it helped me accelerate out of it and really create a quantum leap through my hard times. And it's one of those things where these kind of principles, all three of them stuck. 6 months to a year later, they could have gone anywhere they wanted in the world. 2-3 years later, they're living their life the way they couldn't imagine. And so it comes to a principle of understanding that it's, again, where is your viewpoint on things? Where are you giving your energy to? What are you buying into, right? And I always say just buying the things that help you feel better, that get you excited, that aligns with your values and purpose. These are things that will change because here's the fact. Here's the fact, right? All small businesses got crushed during the pandemic. And how is it that billionaires had an increase in net worth by 56% during that time? Or how is it that during the Great Depression, which is, you hear about these people go always say, oh, another Great Depression is going to come and blah, 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 and all this stuff. Well, then how is it that millionaires came out of that? Newborn millionaires came out of the Great Depression. How is that possible? My point of this episode is to help you recalibrate, course correct, and refocus on what matters most to you. The more you can be less distracted by the things that don't align with your values, unless you are in a position to where you want to see things go into this state that you can take advantage of, then there's a reason maybe why you want to do that. But for the most people, it's one of those things where your energy dictates everything. Where you vibe, your consciousness level dictates your experience. And it creates the law of harmonic resonance or the law of attraction, same thing. And it's one of those things where it's going to bring to you wherever you're vibrating at. And so when you understand these principles, it's a game changer. And this can change your life in so many ways because then you won't be influenced by the things that the world tries to persuade upon you. The media does a great job of selling fear. And they know how to pick words and choose words. They're very selective in their words to trigger responses to do that. They make money in selling fear, or else they wouldn't sell it. Negative news sells, I think, I forget how much, 9 times more or something like that. I forget what that number is, but it's one of those things where it sells. And that's why they go that route all the time. You look at the news, rarely do you ever see anything positive. Rarely do you ever see positive. I'm not saying there's never anything positive, just saying rarely you do. And there's a reason behind that. So when it's coming to your life, maybe say, well, Doc, how do I focus on things? Well, focus on what matters. Just put your energy to it. It's simple. Problem is we've complexed in our mind so much, right? Because we'll get pulled, we'll get triggered. You hear something, oh my goodness, I got to pay attention to that. Oh my God, this came on the news. I need to listen. Oh my God, this happened here. I got to pay attention. Oh my God, this happened here. You're triggered and you're reacting, right? So that's the principle of how to, just focus on what matters for you. Focus on the future self of which you want to become. Focus on the vision and the goals of which you want to have for your life. Focus on those things. That's going to be the game changer. That won't allow these things to hold you back. I mean, I started my own business off right after a recession. I think we didn't have any growth until 2015, and not my business. I mean, the economy. It didn't start to come back around, and it was one of those things where, but I grew a business during that time, right? Now I'm not the only one. There's other ones that've done it too, and some of them done it even more successful than I have. And it's one of those things where you focus on what matters most. Okay. During these times, it challenges your limiting beliefs. It challenges your conscious, subconscious of how you've been programmed and conditioned to allow you to either know that this experience can be you or it's going to influence you. Because a lot of times people think that what happens in the macro world can affect us. And it can. I'm not saying it can't. But you still have a choice on what that's going to mean for you and how you're going to grow and expand. Not everything in life is going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's never been designed that way. It never will be designed that way. It's all about ups and downs, right? So even in the macro world of everything, we go through ups and downs. It's perfectly normal. I was having a conversation with a family member, and we were talking about, recession and stuff. And I said, let's say the housing market collapses. Okay. Unless you're in the market to sell and buy, it doesn't affect you as long as you can afford your mortgage, right? There goes the killing of the fear. Right? Somebody say, well, look what will happen here if this collapses. Okay, that collapses then. But if you continue doing what you're doing, everything's going to be fine. But it's the fear that they sell. Now, don't take my word for this. I'm not a financial advisor, but it's just my understanding of what I know about the markets and so forth, that they always bounce back and they always come back. And if you look at since the existence of time of these things, it has always gone up. Always has. And so it's just when you understand these things, unless you're in those moments that may be affected, it's just like interest rates. Everyone's like, oh my God, interest rates are going up now and this and that. Well, again, if you're in the selling and buying part, if you're in the buying part, then yeah, you're going to be affected by that. But if not, just pay your mortgage. Your interest rate stays the same. And so it's just looking at things from a different perspective, right? These are just perspectives I'm throwing out there and how you can change things. I'm giving you examples, but shift that focus to what it is you want to create for yourself. And all things will reside. All things will prevail. All things will work out the way they need to help you thrive and achieve those goals. I wanted to keep this one a little short for you guys because it's really, I mean, I can go so much deeper in this, but I think it is a very simple concept that if you just do that and really just focus on what it is you want to create and keep your energy there and know that everything always serves you, it's all going to work out. If you want to learn more about these things, if you're a business owner, I have a workshop coming up on November 3rd, and it's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I have the notes. It's in the show notes, guys. So if you're wanting to register for this is for business owners who want to create a recession-proof business through quantum physics. I'm going to be diving into some of the quantum physics principles and some of the studies that have been done to have you understand much more in depth of what I'm sharing here to help you understand the depth of this. And so this is for business owners, or if you're a startup, or if you want to start up a business, you're looking to, and so forth. I highly recommend this. It's going to be a good workshop. We're going to go for about 35 minutes, give or take. And I promise you, the nuggets that will be there are absolutely amazing. And if you can't make it, don't worry. Just hop onto the replay and check it out. I just wanted to throw that little commercial out there for you guys because I'm always trying to create content, and I've been doing workshops lately. And from all my listeners here at the Mindful Experiment, I want to make sure you guys know about this and have access to this and so much more, so you know what to take advantage of these things. So check it out. Any questions you have, let me know. But pay attention where you're focusing. Okay. And maybe I'll do a part 2, and I've done these before, but I'll put it together for you guys to where I can dive a little deeper into then how do we increase our focus so we can decrease our distractions, decrease our pull and our triggers, or the pull that we have on them, how they distract us, and so much more. So I'll do that in probably a couple weeks. But until then, keep rocking and rolling. Be blessed, and appreciate y'all.